Hello everyone, my name is Dan Zuev. I want to introduce my presentation about Scrum methodology. In this presentation, I will describe about roles, rituals and artifacts of Scrum methodology, who is using this methodology, main characteristics of Scrum, which consist of Scrum methodology, how is spending all process of Scrum methodology since begin until the end. I will talk about goals of team players of Scrum methodology, and you will have possible to see examples of events and artifacts. Okay, let's start. First of all, I want to tell you why are we using this kind of methodology and describe all benefits of Scrum methodology. Conception of this presentation is describing Scrum methodology, one of the most popular agile development practices in use today. First reason for its popularity is simplicity. In next pages I will talk about again. Benefits of Scrum: transparency of the process, the ability to introduce changes in Scrum methodology, the ability to identify and fix problems in time, involvement of both developers and testers accelerates the ability to create software product, quality control of process development, good work on result, self-organizing team, software support team. I will describe what means in these points. Transparency of the process. It means exists certain roles and rules of participants of Scrum methodology, which about you'll hear in next pages. The ability to introduce changes in Scrum methodology. It means to prevent mistakes in process of creation software product. The ability to identify and fix problems in time. It means in different periods of process. Involvement of both developers and testers accelerates the ability to create software product. I don't see it necessary to comment this point. And next to quality control of process development. Next point, good work on result. All team players know that main goal is finish process of creation software. That's why main is result. Self-organizing team. All participants have their project and don't want to spend time for anything. And the last point is software support teams. It was main benefits of Scrum methodology. Okay, let's talk about history. Where from Scrum? Who was people who create this process, and of course their books. Main roles in creation Scrum methodology belong, of course, Jeff Sutherland and Ken Schwaber. Scrum for software development was introduced in 1993 by Jeff Sutherland at Eazel Corporation using the study by Takeuchi and Nonaka as a basis for by adopting the analogy as the name of process as a whole for software development. Dr. Jeff Sutherland is one of the inventors of the Scrum software development process. Together with Ken Schwaber, he created Scrum as a formal process at OOPSLA 95 left helped to write the Agile Manifesto in 2001. He is the writer of Scrum Guide. Ken Schwaber is a software developer, product manager, and industry consultant. In 1995, Sutherland and Schwaber jointly presented a paper describing the Scrum methodology at the Business Object Design and Implementation workshop held as a part of Object-Oriented Programming Systems, Languages and Applications 95 in Austin, Texas, its first public presentation. Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland have extended and enhanced Scrum at many software companies and IT organizations. Schwaber and Sutherland are two of 17 initial signatories of the Agile Manifesto. They are authors of the definitive Scrum Guide, which is made available for free by scrum.org. Today, Schwaber runs Scrums.org, which provides Scrum resources, training, assessments, and certifications of Scrum Master, Scrum developers, Scrum product owners, and organizations using Scrum. And one more of founders of Scrum is Mike Biddle. He's also written a new book with the title Enterprise Scrum: Agile Management for the First Century, and he's author of the Enterprise's Scrum definition. Mike and his companies have introduced Scrum to thousands of people and hundreds of companies, providing training, consulting, mentoring, coaching, and hands-on consultants, developers, and Scrum Masters to the industry. Mike teaches his CSM courses with an emphasis on Enterprise Scrum. Mike Biddle is the sole author of the first Scrum book, Agile Software Development with Scrum, the sole author of the first Scrum paper published in a book, a sole author of the Agile Manifesto, and it was his creation in Scrum. Scrum involves a cross-functional team creating a list to work on. The team consists of three roles: the product owner, the team, and Scrum Master, who each have specific tasks. The team then work through three phases: pre-sprint planning, the sprint, and then a post-sprint meeting. The group has daily meetings and keeps a product backlog. Exist three distinguishing factors between Scrum teams and normal teams are self-management, continuity of team membership, and dedication to a single project. So, what is Scrum? Scrum is project management methodology which is based on the principles of time management. Its main feature is the involvement of all participants, and each participant has their own specific role. Conception of is not only the team working on a solution of the problem, but all those who are interested in the solution of the problem, not just put it and relax it, but always work with the team. And this work is not only continuous monitoring. The term comes from rugby, which stands for scrum match. Scrum defines the general management of the project. Who is using of Scrum? Commercial software, internal development, custom development, projects with a fixed cost, financial applications, main certificate applications, embedded system is a system with a dedicated function within a larger mechanical and electrical system. 24/7 systems with the requirements of 99.99% efficiency created a unified fighter bomber, development of video games, of course, vital system approved by the Food and Drug Administration USA, software control of satellites, websites, portable software, mobile phones, application network, ISV applications, and some of the largest and used applications. Okay, let's talk about main characteristics. As I said, first of all is self-organizing teams, why I said in previous pages. The product is developed by a series of sprints, each less than a month. A sprint, by the way, is a basic unit of development in Scrum. We will talk about sprints in next pages. All requirements are written in the form of single list of product backlog. The product backlog is an ordered list of requirements that is maintained for a product. Also, we should remember that engineering practices are not part of Scrum. Uses simple rules for creating and flexible development environment projects. And of course, Scrum is one of Agile process. Okay, in this page we can see Agile manifest, main declaration of values. In this page we can see what is more important for Scrum methodology. It is people and interaction more important than process and tools. Working product is more important, of course, than comprehensive documentation. Cooperation with the customer more important than harmonization of contracts. And of course, be ready to change more important than follow the original plan. In next page we can see main approaches of Scrum based on it, of course, roles. There are 3 core roles and a range of ancillary roles. Core roles were previously referred to as pigs and auxiliary roles as a chicken, after the story The Chicken and the Pig. The core roles are thus committed to the project in Scrum process. They are the ones producing the product, objective of the project. They represent a Scrum team. Also, other roles may be encountered in real projects. Scrum does not define any team roles other than those described below. So in this example, pigs are product owner, Scrum master, and developers. And chickens are testers, customers, and executives. Rituals enhance the communication between team members and resolve problems surfaced in the initial stages rather than at the end of the development cycle. And third point is artifacts. which consist of sprints, product backlogs, and burn-down charts. About all these points I will describe in the next pages. Okay, next. Differences from the methodologies. Flexible and inflexible. Flexible, it means Agile Scrum, and inflexible, it means waterfall. Scrum, flexible. Projections reusable, can change all time. And in waterfall, in this time, projection can be made once in all time, without any changes. In Agile Scrum, permanent contact with the customer, it allows to create more quality product than in waterfall, because in inflexible methodology, contacting the client only 3 or 4 once. In flexible methodologies, the constant repetition of the process of SDLC in previous level, with considering previous mistakes, of course. And in inflexible, absent repetition of the process of SDLC on previous level. And the last point in this page, inflexible methodologies. The customer pays for result, and inflexible, the customer pays for process. I think if we put ourselves in the place of buyers, we can conclude which method is better for us and why. It was main difference from the methodologies of Agile Scrum and Waterfall. Let's continue and come to previous page, main approaches of Scrum, and describe all points since begin. Let's look roles of Scrum participants. Product owner. The product owner is the one person responsible for a project's success. The product owner leads the development effort by conveying his or her vision to the team, outlining work in the product backlog, and prioritizing it based on business value. Of course, he or she must also consider the stakeholders and the team. As such, the product owner must be available to the team to answer questions, to deliver direction. Scrum values self-organization, and as a result, the product owner must respect the team ability to create its own plan of action. Simpler words, it's one of more important role in all Scrum methodology. Product owner helps to make right features for product backlog. He or she helps set the direction for product backlog. Next, one of main roles in Scrum methodology is Scrum Master. The Scrum Master is responsible for making sure a Scrum team lives by the values and practices of Scrum. The Scrum Master is often considered a coach for the team, helping the team do the best work it possibly can. The Scrum Master can also be thought of as a process owner for the team, creating a balance with the project's key stakeholder, who is referred to as the product owner. The Scrum Master does anything possible to help the team perform tasks at their highest level. This involves removing any impediments of progress, facilitating meetings, and doing things like working with the product owner to make sure the product backlog is in good shape and ready for the next sprint. The Scrum Master role is commonly filled by a former project manager or technical team leader, but can be anyone. In other words, main duties of Scrum Master are make sure that product is progressing smoothly and every member of team receives and have done job in time. I'll not describe all another team players. I'll describe all team like one team. Within the Scrum framework, all work delivered to the customer is done by dedicated Scrum teams. A Scrum team is a collection of individuals working together to deliver the requested and committed product increments. To work effectively, it is important for a Scrum team that everyone within the team follows a common goal, adheres the same norms and rules, shows respect to each other. A Scrum team in a Scrum environment does not include any of the traditional software engineering roles, such as programmer, designer, tester, or architect. Everyone on the project works together to complete the set of work they have collectively committed the complete within a sprint. Because of this, Scrum terms develop a deep form of camaraderie and the feeling that we are all in this together. A typical Scrum team is 5 or 9 people. Rather than scaling by having a large team, Scrum projects scale through having teams of teams. In this way, we have worked on projects with more than 500 people and have consulted on projects with more than 1000. Go further. Next point is artifacts of Scrum. First of all is sprint. What is sprint? In product development, a sprint is a set period of time during which specific work has to be completed and made ready for review. After a sprint begins, the product owner must step back and let the team to do their work. Sprint is the result of the finished product built, which can transmit deliver to the customer. At least the system should be ready to be shown to the customer. It is iteration in Scrum, during which growth creates functional software. Scrum is rigidly fixed in time, the duration of the sprint from 2 to 4 weeks. Different teams are selected according to the length of the sprint nature of their work. Receives the requirements often by trial and error. Each sprint begins with a planning sprint. What is a planning sprint? Planning meeting is a certain meeting where I attended by all participants of Scrum methodology. Not methodology, Scrum team, sorry. During the meeting, the product owner, the person requesting the work, and the development team agree upon exactly what work will be accomplished during the sprint. All team is finding answer on two questions. First, what shall we do? And second, how shall we do? What shall we do? It means analyze backlogs and all details of backlog and choosing purpose of the sprint. And second answer, how shall we do? Decide how to achieve the objectives of the sprint design. Create a sprint backlog task of the elements of the product backlog, stories, users and functions. Estimate backlog sprint hours. The development teams has the final say when it comes to determining how much work can realistically be accomplished during the sprint, and the product owner has the final say on what criteria needs to be met for the work to be approved and accepted. The duration of a sprint is determined by Scrum Master, the team's facilitator. Once the team reaches a consensus for how many days a sprint should last, all future sprints should be the same. Traditionally, a sprint lasts 30 days. Planning. The team selects from the product backlog requirements that they can realize for sprint. Sprint backlog is created. Tasks are identified and assessed. One or six, since 1 until 16 hours. Everything is done by the team and not Scrum Master. Main characteristics of Scrum meeting. Scrum meeting is spending every day, no more than 15 minutes. All participants are standing on legs, not for solve problems. Invited all interested persons in Scrum meeting, not only the team of Scrum. Only team members can speak. The owner of the product is also part of the team, of course. Scrum Master is the header of meeting, and the Scrum Master can speak. What shall we do? It means he's construct all all words every team player. During the sprint, the team holds daily stand-up meeting to discuss progress and brainstorm solutions to challenges. The project owner may attend these meetings as an observer, but is not allowed to participate unless it is to answer questions. The project owner may not make requests for changes during a sprint, and only the Scrum Master or project manager has the power to interrupt or stop the sprint. Every participant answers on 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? What will you do today? And what's stopping you? It is not order for Scrum Master. You should tell it for your colleagues. Go further. Sprint review. The team is present what has been done. Focus on result, not on process. Usually it takes the form of demonstration. All process of discussion should be informally, maximum 2 hours on presentation, without slides. All team is in process. Anybody participant can be without process. Invited all who can be interested in process, not only team of Scrum. At the end of sprint, the team presents its completed work to the project owner, and the project owner uses the criteria established at the sprint planning meeting to either accept or reject the work. No matter how good a Scrum team is, there is always opportunity to improve. Also, a good Scrum team will be constantly looking for improvement opportunities. The learner should set aside a brief, dedicated period at the end of each sprint uh, to deliberately reflect on how they are doing and to find ways to improve. This occurs during the sprint retrospective. Retrospective review of what works and what does not. Usually it spends 15-30 minutes after each sprint. The whole team is involved. perhaps invited product owner, customer, or someone from the company's management. The sprint retrospective is usually the last thing done in sprint. Many teams will do it immediately after the sprint review. The entire team, including both of Scrum Master and the product owner, should participate. You can schedule a Scrum retrospective for up to an hour, which is usually quite sufficient. However, occasionally a hot topic will arise or a team conflict will escalate and the retrospective could take significantly longer. Also, there are many ways to conduct an agile sprint retrospective. I'll show what is to conduct. It is a start, stop, continue meeting. This is perhaps the simplest but often the most effective way to conduct a retrospective. Using this approach, each team member is asked to identify specific things that the team should start doing, stop doing, and continue doing. There are many variations on this simple format. The Scrum Master can facilitate this sprint retrospective meeting by asking everyone to just shout out ideas during the Scrum. The Scrum Master can go around the room asking each person to identify any one thing to start, stop, or continue. Or, for example, he or she can tell everyone to focus on identifying something to stop this time because not much attention has been paid to things to stop in recent retrospectives. After an initial list of ideas has been brainstormed, teams will commonly vote on specific items to focus on during the coming sprint. At the end of the sprint, the next retrospective is often begun by reviewing the list of things selected for attention in the prior sprint retrospective. Let's resume goal of sprint. Sprint goal is a short one or two sentence description of what the team plans to achieve during the sprint. It is written collaboratively by the team and the product owner. The next artifact is backlog product. Backlog product consists of requirements, list of desired functionality, ideally written so that each element has a value for the end user. Priorities are set by product owner. Priorities are updated at the beginning of the sprint. The Agile product backlog in Scrum is a prioritized features list containing short description of all functionality desired in the product. When applying Scrum, it is not necessary to start a project with a lengthy upfront efforts to document all requirements. Typically, a Scrum learn a team and its product owner begin by writing down everything they can think of for Agile backlog prioritization. This Agile product backlog is almost always more than enough for the first sprint. The Scrum product backlog is then allowed to grow and change as more is learned about the product and its customers. A typical Scrum backlog comprises the following different types of items: features, bugs, technical work, knowledge acquisition. By far, The predominant way for a Scrum team to express features on Agile product backlog is in the form of user stories, which are short, simple descriptions of the desired functionality told from a perspective of the user. An example would be next table. In the left column we can see backlog, in the right column we can see time, estimate time. Example, I want booking number like a guest. Team will spend 3 hours. Next feature, I want to cancel booking like a guest. The team mark estimate this on 5 hours. And next points, as a guest I want to change the date of reservation. As an employer of the hotel I want to view reports, improve exception handling, and another. Go further. Manage backlog sprint. Team members choose work on your choice. Tasks are never assigned to forced. Evaluation of the remaining work is updated daily. Any team member can add, delete, or modify elements of the sprint backlog. Challenges for the sprint may occur during operation. If the problem is not clear, then this element backlog reserved more time and it will be split into its components parts later. Evolution of remaining work is updated as we learn more about the tasks. It's critical that the team selects the items and size of the sprint backlog, because they are people committing to completing the tasks. They must be the people to choose what they are committing to during the Scrum sprint. The sprint backlog is commonly maintained as a spreadsheet, but it is also possible to use your defects tracking system or any of a number of software products designed specially for Scrum or Agile. An example of a sprint backlog in a spreadsheet tools like this. In this table we can see different columns. First is activity and second 5 columns are day of weeks. Create interface of users. The team will spend on Monday 8 hours and Tuesday 4 hours and on Wednesday 8 hours again. Create logic. It's as you see, team will spend more time that in the first point. Testing logic. Write a user manual. To make a general class of utility, add error magazine. Sprint burn down chart. The release burn down chart is a way for the team to track progress that provide visibility. The release burn down chart is updated at the end of each sprint by the Scrum Master. The horizontal axis of the release burn down chart shows the sprints. The vertical axis shows the amount of work remaining at the start of each sprint. The release burn down chart makes it easy to drill down into a sprint and understand what is the remaining work, what work has been added, what work has been done, what work will have to be done. You can see what the team has completed as well as how scope changed. How to create a burn down chart. The first step is to have a task breakdown in place. This is generally done during the sprint planning meeting. Each task should have associated hours, ideally no more than 12, roughly 2 days work at 6 per day, which the team decides on during the planning meeting. Once the task breakdown is in place, the ideal burndown chart is plotted. The ideal reflects progress, assuming that all tasks will be completed within the sprint at a uniform rate. Refer to the red line in figure 1 below. Not red, blue, sorry. Many agile tools, rarely RTC, version 1, Mingle etc., have built-in capability for burn-down chart. However, in its simplest form, a burn-down chart can be maintained in a spreadsheet. Dates in sprint are plotted on the axis, while remaining efforts are plotted on the second axis. We are seeing example of burn down chart in previous table. Scalability. Typically, the team consists of 7 plus minus 2 people. Scalability by groups of commands. Factors: expansion, application type, team size, dispersed teams, duration of the project. Scrum was used in projects with a complex structure, employing more than 500 people. Scalability in this context refers to the innate ability to apply single team-based agile techniques in successfully larger and interdependent organizational units. Teams working on the same project or program, typically one or two teams. And at maximum 3 will work on a product owned by a single product owner, and Scrum works entirely native in that solution. But where several products within a project or program have dependencies between each other, a degree of coordination is required between them to ensure overall project program system integrity. This can be to minimize waste, for example, in ensuring that dependent components are developed just in time for when they are needed. It can also be to satisfy techniques dependence, part of the very essence of product and program development. Examples of Scrum of and beyond have been tried and made to work, so this might handle a limit up to 50 teams at its best, but this is introducing hierarchies, reporting and function that generally have pretty severe disadvantages too. Scrum backlog product. In the simplest definition of Scrum product backlog is simply a list of all things that needs to be done within the project. It replaces the traditional requirements specification artifacts. These items can have a technical nature or can be user-centric, in the form of user stories. The owner of the Scrum product backlog is the Scrum product owner, the Scrum Master, the Scrum team, and other stakeholders contribute it to have a broad and complete to-do list. Working with the Scrum product backlog does not mean that Scrum team is not allowed to create, use, other artifacts. Example for additional artifacts could be a summary of various of user roles, workflow descriptions, user interface guidelines, storyboards, or user interface prototypes. However, these artifacts do not replace the Scrum product backlog, but complement and detail its content. content. As I said, the Agile product backlog in Scrum is prioritized feature list containing short description of all functionality desired in the product. When applying Scrum, it's not necessary to start a project with a lengthy upfront effort to document all requirements. Typically, a Scrum team and its product owner begin by writing down everything they can think of for Agile backlog prioritization. Next page, Sprint backlog. Sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is a list of work the development team must address during the next sprint. The list is derived by selecting product backlog items from the top of the product backlog until the development team feels it has enough work to fill the sprint. This is done by the development team asking, "Can we also do this?" and adding product backlog items to the sprint backlog. The development team should keep in mind its past performance, assessing its capacity for the new sprint, and use this as a guideline of how much effort they can complete. The product backlog items are broken down into tasks by development team. Tasks on the sprint's backlog are never assigned, rather tasks are signed up for by the team members as needed according to the set priority and development team member skills. This promotes self-organization of the development team and developer buy-in. In these pages we can see all companies that are using Scrum. Scrum has streamlined software development, and professionals from around the world are starting to see the value of using Scrum. Of all the possible agile frameworks used by companies, 66% are Scrum or Scrum variants. Uh, why should we use Scrum? Scrum has the power to transform project management across every industry. We can see in this list, by the way, every business and even across life in general. By using Scrum, you'll become more agile, discovering how to react more quickly and respond more accurately to the inevitable change that comes your way. And by staying focused, collaborating, and communicating, you can accomplish what truly needs to be done successfully. It was my first presentation of Scrum methodology. I will finish. Uh, I used in this presentation was used information from all over internet. Thank you for your time. I hope you spent this time was helpful for you.